Hey, folks, welcome to the program. This is going to be a special presentation. You may, entirely up to you, but you may, if you want, decide that you want to take notes when it comes to this particular episode. I'm going to go ahead and ask you right now, will you please share, rumble, like, follow, subscribe to this program? Because I'm going to tell you right up front that this program, I'm going to do it different than most, is going to catch a lot of flack. But in the U.S., the reality is the people are the ones that should be moving the system, and the people are the protection that anything needs. So you're totally transparent on everything that's going on, etc. You are the key. By the way, today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Gold Co. I'm just asking you to go to jovanlovesgold.com and request your free gold and silver kit today, because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Please do it. Something's coming. I've always told you something's coming with digital money. It's going to happen now. Let me explain to you a little bit up front about what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to keep this very concise and very short so it can be shared easily. We're now in a different evolution of this battle we've been on since the 2020 election to bring you the truth that happened. And I've started to release some forensic bombshells about the 2020 election proofs. You've been seeing them on Twitter or otherwise. This is where the heads up of what happens next. Is it going to be more rumors and rage and retaliation? I'm telling you right now, with what's being released and seen, pay attention to those that either try to attack my team, attack the facts, or attack what happens. This is the time where the system ends up revealing itself, because you keep on having more data than ever. I'm going to give you the punchline right up front. Share this, folks. And I've already got my first thumbs down. They're already here. They're watching closely. Let me give you the punchline up front. When you look at all of our forensic data and the special technologies that we not only created, but patented to be able to audit elections, it all comes down, when you look at everything that was done, it all comes down, what are the statistical odds and probabilities that 2020 was, in fact, the most safe, secure, fair election ever run. Here are the odds. I'm going to give them to you right up front. This is what I would kind of call proof beyond a shadow of a doubt, but the odds are less than 1 in 10 to the 1.77 million zeros odd. That's the odds. We had to force mathematicians and systems to basically extrapolate the odds, because most people don't understand p-values, right? But they're called p-values, not to be confused with p-caps or p-bullshit. These are called p-values. It basically means you have the number 10, and then behind it you have 1,770,000 zeros. To state it to you in an analogy, it is more impossible than every particle in the universe spontaneously rearranging itself into a perfect copy of you, and doing that every second of every day since the Big Bang, and then doing that over again and again a trillion times. If you could wave a God hand, take every particle, create you, boom, and now you've got the rough chances of you, you know how that is, and created a twin of you, it would be as rare as that happening, but that happening every second of every single day since the Big Bang occurred and then being able to replicate it again a trillion times. All evidence show the pattern that happened in this election, what we've detected, did not happen by chance. It is the mathematical fingerprint of an algorithm inserting ballots, one per precinct, and perfect rhythm. And that is the exact final probability from 100% of your cadence data. Now, the reason I give you that, elections are supposed to self-audit themselves. It's how they're designed. None of it stands alone. And it's when you look at all the different ways that the different paperwork, the different steps, they're all supposed to cross-correlate to each other. They should all end up with the same thing. And I know when I put that up there, and I know you read it, there's quite a few of you going to say, so you mean there's a chance? Well, it takes dumb and dumbers, and there's a bunch of chicken shit people out there when it comes to what really happened in 2020. The bottom line is, if we don't fix what happened, because now we know what happened, our nation's over. So I'm going to take you through a very fast tutorial. A very, very, very fast tutorial. This algorithm comes because we can take our 10 basic disciplines that we created, and they all cross-correlate to each other, and then are supported by another 10 that validate those on a one-on-one basis. One of the very first things that I taught when we started talking about the 2020 election, as I talked about the calibration of the ballot. It's that little plus sign and that little target. It kind of looks like this. Everybody told me I was nuts. I'm used to that. Everybody told me the printing didn't matter. I was used to that. But if you were to look up into the top right-hand corner, the bottom left-hand corner of any printed ballot, on one side, you see the thing that looks like a scope, if you've ever hunted. On the other side, you see that little plus sign. That is why we had to backlight the paper. When you saw all of the very paper inspection tables, and they had to set these ballots down a very special way, this was part of the process we were doing. I want to remind you, this is the difference between what we did in the full forensic audit in Arizona, looking at every single ballot in excess of 2 million, versus the biggest one to date, which ironically was kinematic as well, looking at the movement. That was the hanging chads debacle in 2020 that looked at what, 40,000, 50,000. This is a big thing. So I just want you to get familiar with this. Just get familiar with this one thing. When you see the yellow circle, that's our systems. The red is our targeting. When you see the blotchy stuff, that's the paper. You see one that's in darker black, that's what of those targets happen to be on the front side of the paper. It's going to appear darker. On the back side of the paper, it's going to appear lighter. We did this for every single ballot. Now, what we're looking for, I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to teach you something so I can train your eyes for a moment, okay? The system with Sharpie Gate says Sharpies will not make your vote not count. That's a lie. Well, we never said that. It's about temporarily suspending your vote. They also said, well, if a ballot's out of calibration, watch this one. Where's the plus sign? Do you see it? This is perfect. This is the signature of an official ballot printed on an official machine. Look at the color of the black. Look at the target. This is the signature of a perfect ballot in the system. This one, even though you had other paper experts, you see how the line's kind of butchered? It's because of the type of printer it was printed on, etc. But you also see where the plus sign is way up there. Now you notice the difference between densities. Here's it's jet black, here it's kind of dotted. You see it way up there? Well, those are the things we measure. Now, why did we go to this extent where everybody told us we were nuts, stupid, crazy, it doesn't change the ballot, you're wasting your time? I will show you this. And by the way, I've been transparent about our process from the very beginning. I've always told you the client for this is the American public. This is why there was so much shit stink with my team's contract with the Arizona Senate, because not only did we patent it and create brand new technologies out of existing technologies, computer vision, that's cameras, machine learning, that's being able to mechanically learn how to do it, and artificial intelligence to be able to interpret it, extrapolate it, figure the mathematical formulas, etc. That's computer vision, machine learning, artificial intelligence. They screamed. Now, if we would have signed the contract the way that they want it, which we told them to go pound sand, you would have never seen any of this. You would not know this. Training your eyes one more time. This is when a ballot is printed properly on the machine. Here you can see it's a different machine and it's way out of alignment. Now, here's what you need to understand. This has nothing at all, like the system has told you, to do with will it cancel your vote or did it change your vote? Put that in your brain. The way the system pushes back on this, well, it doesn't cancel your vote. That's a lie. That's not what we're doing with it. Why am I even doing this episode? Statistically, more than likely, we're going to get attacked more. The rumor mill that happened to our team was nuts. Was just nuts. You've heard everything. Jovan didn't submit a report. Jovan just copied a bunch of papers from the Constitution and the manuals from the, state. Those were in our scientific reader, but our scientific reader were never our reports. You have to explain the science you're doing to validate a new science. But you heard all kinds of things. You've heard it. He didn't submit a report. He didn't do a report. He didn't do kinematics. There's no such thing as kinematic artifact detection. He didn't submit anything. He didn't give anything. Now that we are into the further independent systems, right? Further independent systems that are cross-verifying our work, I'm telling you there is potentially, I don't know, it'll depend on the opposite side, there is potentially a shitstorm brewing because it's creating a lot of rage and it's going to create retaliation. So I'm doing this. When you see that happen, I'm telling you right now, the very people you should be worried about focusing on things that don't make a difference might actually out them. You might see people that will attack this, will attack me. What they will be doing is they will be outing themselves because the whole system has always had this information. This is what we sent out, certified, return, receipt, requested, and FedEx both ways so we could verify it to all the lawmakers in Arizona, to all the various people involved, to all the various teams involved. They've always had this. But the system chose not to talk about it. What the system chose to do is to shit on our team. So here's the lesson begin. This is 100%. Train your eyes real quick. This is 100%. This is what an official Runbeck ballot should look like. This is what it looks like when it's not Runbeck, it's not calibrated, and it's not official. We did not produce this report to say this temporarily suspends your vote. That's not what happened. But the one thing we do is we do let the system hang itself. We're very patient. You have to be patient if you're fighting something that's been institutionalized for decades. We're very, very, very patient. The reason I created this technology is because we created, for the first time ever, a way to identify how many printers were in use, and what did they really do when it came to the printing of the ballot, which, by the way, the machine rules are voluntary, but the printing, the ballots are not. Take a look at this report. This is a report that's interestingly hand counted. You see the HC in the top right? This was a hand counted report. Now, if you see that six-sided device on the left with a cross through it, that is basically sonar. So not only are we looking for how far out is the calibration, we're mapping it by sonar. Okay? So if you were to look at that sixth side, you look at the top part, that's north, the bottom's south. The far left is west, the far right is east. And then you see it's kind of like a pie, pizza pie, right? So it goes north, northeast, southeast, south, north, northwest, southwest, south. Do you see how to read it? Now, this particular ballot is a perfect batch from Runback. Okay? There were 201 ballots in this batch. 194 of them were printed perfectly. Now, this comes from, you're basically asked to see, this is what is considered a perfect ballot from Runback. But we measure on the nanometer level the little bitty drift of the machines. Here's the things you need to know. These big, high, powerful machines are built to withstand running about 5,500 batches. By the way, there were 10,400 plus batches in Maricopa. They're built to run 5,500 batches before they ever need an adjustment and a calibration. Pay attention to that. 5,500 batches. An average batch is 200. And so this is batch ID number HC2864. There were none out of calibration, all within the allowances we allowed. This is the fingerprint of a Runback machine. I want to draw your attention to something else you need to be aware of on this. So you can see hitting the target. See hitting the green target inside? Everybody should be able to hit that green target. That means Runback when it printed the machines. What you need to know is before the election, well, at the end of the election, there were 52 boxes that were perfectly sealed by law, taped over, sealed, so nobody can get in. All the batches were together, every one of them. Okay? Bang on. This is one of those boxes. Keep in the back of your mind as I go forward here. More thumbs down. Thank you, guys. Glad to see you're here. Of the 52 boxes, everything we're going to show you today, in those 52 boxes, which were handpicked by Katie Hobbs and Adrian Fontes at the end of the election, those boxes were set aside and said, if we get audited, look at these boxes. Now, they look random, but they are not. So invariably after the 2020 election, they looked at those 52 boxes. Now there were 1,675 boxes. They're all supposed to be sealed and batches proper by law. They were not. In fact, there were only 52 sealed by law. Those were the 52 they said in advance, if we get audited, we'll look at these. All the other boxes were open. This is the fingerprint also of those 52 batches. What I'm about to show you, ironically, somehow, magically, the 52 batches that were hand counted don't have these problems. Okay, here's a perfect ballot. That's what we're looking for. It is the signature of Runbeck. Let me show you some of the things we found. Look at this batch. There is not a single ballot here that was printed on a Runbeck machine. It's 511 ballots. We call this in our systems, as we try to categorize them, we call it hammering. Now, if you had to identify that machine by coordinates, you had to give it an ID. We already know its highest out of calibration is 3,300% off the mark. It's 3,300% off the mark. This is one singular batch. You have nothing, not a single ballot in there that was printed on an official machine, not a one. If you had to give this a heading, right? And I'll keep people focused because news, freak, and flash, Israel has nothing to do with it. Say it again in chat, you're gone forever from my program, because this is not printed in Israel, done by Israel. Here you go. Can you see that? Now, how would you describe it? It's north by northwest. Would you agree? It's basically equidistant north by northwest. North leaning north by northwest. That's how you would describe it, right? See that cluster? It's drifting north by northwest. We use that now, combined with the numbers, combined with our detection, we can identify when this machine was used. So now you got a little bit of training. I'm going to show you another one. Now, you must remember, when it comes to batches, how does a batch occur? Supposedly, they reach in from the mail, right? They reach in from the mail, or they reach in from a drop box, or they reach in from election day and they grab 200 at a time. Are you with me? That's how batching occurs. Supposedly, it's totally random. They reach in, they grab 200, it becomes a batch. 84% of the election should look like this, because they're just randomly grabbing batches, and they should have all been printed on Runbeck machines. They should look like that. They do not. Now, if you know this is basically a machine that keeps on doing this hammering thing, you got to go back and you got to look at this. Now, remember, there are over 10,400 samples of this. We plotted everything. 10,400 samples. Now, in this particular sample, okay, the highest out of calibration was 2,700%. The average out of calibration was 1,792%. Now, this is supposedly mail-in voting. Mail-in voting should look exactly like this. Why would you have a batch that you can see it's fairly close, right, to mail-in voting? 66% of the ballots, right, are bang on. We have kind of a little yellow warning. We give them some leniency. 23% are still allowable, but they're out there. So basically, if you combine those, okay, you got 89%. That number's correct for what should have been mail-in ballots. But look at those outliers. So you have to ask yourself, if this is early voting and they're all supposed to look like this, how did these outliers, 20%, how did these outliers even get into that batch? They all should look like this. How is it that outliers just kind of drop in? And you look at the outlier, it's basically a westerly heading predominantly. I'm going to give you the numbers in a minute. This is how we don't look for votes that were canceled. It has nothing to do with it. This is how we understand how many printers were involved, what printers printed what, and what did they do to the individual batch. Since all the batches should really look like that, you should never have something like this. This is official and correct. This is, well, we got a 25% problem here, folks. How did those ballots get in there? Now maybe you're probably beginning to cross-correlate. Wait a minute, there were 1,675 boxes. There were only 52 that were sealed by law. All of those 62 are perfect. The other, boxes that were left over of the 1,600 plus left, all had been rifled and gone through. Now do you understand? Now remember at the top of the program I told you that in proper auditing, everything should cross-confirm what you're seeing. Another way to look at it is we had to create a program that could forensically look down on the pallets, look down on the boxes stacked on the pallet, right? And look at it a different way. So we created our pallet report. This is a calibration report, out of calibration report. I'm going to show you a pallet report. Now, first, I'm going to show you normal cadence. You're looking down on pallet number 22. Okay, so this is fairly early on in the ballots being run. Okay. So basically what you're looking at is you're looking down on pallet number 22, and you're looking at the second level of boxes on pallet 22. So each square is technically a box, as I teach you to read this. So there's 1, 2, 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3 boxes. That's how we laid it out. So you're looking at level 2 of the boxes in the pallet. Now, I just want you to look at red and blue. Red and blue, okay? If we had a close neck and neck run in an election like they said we did in Arizona and all the swing states, these should be fairly well balanced out. The cadence never changes. The cadence never changes, ever. This is what looking down, right, on to a pallet should look like. See it? I'll just use the first row down. Red, blue, red, blue, 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 red, red, blue, blue, red, blue, red, 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 blue, red, blue, red, blue. You can kind of see it battling back and forth. Now I'm going to give you a peek deep into the palettes. I'm going to show you a level of palettes. So we're going to go to one palette. There's many of these. There's 47 palettes of ballots. Another way that we confirm something happened, something was wrong, that was not correct, is by looking at this visually. Look at these boxes. Now, this is one palette. You see how there's only 2 red boxes on that thing? Basically, on this layer of palette, it's telling you out of all these batches, one box has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batches in it, right? And you got to understand, when an election's truly a battle back and forth, it should look like this. So you see something kind of went wrong when you look at this level. And we look at the next level. And we look at the next level. And we look at the next level. There are oceans of these. Now you have to look at them this way, because if you only look at the numbers, it will lull you into it was a neck and neck. You've got to look at it on a batch basis. When we highlight them in red, those are some real egregious ones we'll talk about in a moment. So can you see how you look at it forensically this way? It's not a 50-50 election back and forth like it is. We're talking there are oceans of these. This is the makeup process. This is the makeup process. You follow me? It means it is a synthetic sign of the system trying to make it up. You just looked. This batch is in those boxes. Now you understand what the little outliers are? You now understand why you can look at something that looks, well, it's officially like Runbeck, but you got all these stupid little outliers out here. It's because they were printed on different printers and inserted in to make the numbers come out like this. I tell you this because this is how we cross-correlate everything. Here's what you need to know. These are what's called p-values. Okay? P-values. This is what forensics looks at when it looks at everything you've discovered. This is kind of like a three-quarter way analysis. And when you understand different things happen, there's no pre-images of the election day stuff. All of the election day ballots, for some reason, they all have a missing pre-image. All of those were on a separate drive. All of them had 100% cropped headers. Basically, all of them had no chain of custody. And in those, there are 71.3% fabricated ballots. The system overprinted 1.3 million ballots. And there was perfect uniformity of this across the machines in every box. That's how you get to this. Everything cross-correlates. It's all about the numbers. It is all about the numbers. And when you just look at certain things that we have to cross-correlate, like election day, the odds of it being correct are 10 to the 710 power of the universe, the total number of atoms in the universe. This is why forensics is the only way to do this. But you also have to look at everything. You have to cross-correlate everything. Remember this weird signature when everything should be like that, or everything should be like that, or is like that? This is what it should be. Well, what if I told you these little hammer batches, which should be an anomaly, happened 12 batches in a row in sequence? And they should look like this. Or this with the little outliers. What if those happen 12 batches in a row? Just for that signature. Consider this a signature. Not only did it happen 12 batches in a row, it happened 62 times over. The reason I'm telling you this is because there is a very distinct chance that we're going to come under attack, possibly in some of the most insidious, violent, rumor, crap, shit ways there are. And I'm telling you, pay attention to who does what, because this is what they have done their best to avoid. This is what the GOP has taken on itself and the influencers out there to tell you there was no full forensic audit, PCAT stuff, Jovan's a grifter, all this other stuff. It is very likely that the retaliation is going to begin. And all you have to know, we caught every single bit of it. It has now been cross-confirmed, independently confirmed over and over again. I think it's scientifically probably the best work I've ever done in my life to figure out how to do it. I think when I can prove it that it didn't happen, and the odds of the way they said it happened is 1 in 10 to the 1,770,000th power. I kind of think we nailed it. But what the system has been told is there were no reports. Nobody did this, which is why you understand we meticulously kept receipts when we sent them to lawmakers, return mail, certified receipt, FedEx. We expected this the entire time. This is why the evidence in the 2020 election is so critical. This is why it's the only evidence that shows just how bad the system is. The good thing about this is it's repeatable, verifiable, and testable, which is what you have to be by law. But I have endured being called everything from a grifter to a fraud to I explain it to simplicity. I've even been told, well, you're not explaining it scientific enough. It's really kind of amateur. Well, it's because I'm teaching you to understand, because you're the one that pushes to get justice in this and understands we need a full forensic audit. Believe me, I can play in this league all damn day. But again, I let them hang themselves. And that's why we've had to be so patient. I learned patience in this. Boy, I learned frustration, but I'm telling you, I learned patience in this exercise. This is the evidence they want to disappear. This is the evidence they want to go away. This is what they're very rapidly, as people start to really understand these numbers and look at it, are going to try very, very hard to ignore, push back on. And probably the way they're going to do it is to try to destroy me and my team. I understand that. Which is why I show you the truth. These are repeatable and testable. And by the way, all of these numbers I give you, when I show you the analysis, are not from my team. They're all from independent third parties, cross-verifying our numbers, rerunning and testing our systems, duplicating our platform techniques of computer vision, machine learning, and AI, and verifying bang on exactly what we did. For all of you that worked in the full forensic audit in Arizona, this is your history. With no regards to what you've been told about me or my team and all the pink rose ladies and all this other stuff, which was all a con. That was somebody inside feeding bad information out. This is the way it's done, and this is why we're in a nasty fight, and this is the real truth they don't want you to know. But the bottom line is, if we keep on going misdirections and we're chasing chickens, or we're chicken to know the truth, this is where we as a nation are going to get clobbered, and this is why there's been so much out there. And just because I disagree with somebody, and I say I don't give a shit about Venezuela whistleblowers, because for a crime that happened in Venezuela, it proves nothing in the United States, and you can't convict on it. And so I don't pay attention to that stuff. And then the people that said they found 6 polynomial wagga waggas, you can run that math yourself. You can put it in. You can have people do the math and the analytics on it to tell you it has a 1 in 80 billion chance of being right, because it was crap. This is confirmation. This will probably heat up. I want you to know in advance. This is just straight facts. These are not our words. When we show the signature of this, what would be the signature of this? You see these little red dots out there? So you got quasi-official ballots or official ballots that look like they should, and you got these little red dots. Well, one of the things you also need to know is those little red dots don't only represent a ballot, they represent a precinct. And the odds of every single batch having a perfect detectable rhythm of, you get these batches, but then 80% of the batches, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 ballot inserted. That is what proves they did this to a perfect rhythm, and they made the ballots to match. And we even went as far as to track it down by mapping it to every single drop box, every single postal box, every single postal station. And this is not how even the mail delivers. Now you know. Prepare for the attack. More than likely it will happen. Stay tuned to all of our media. We've got a big official report coming out. It will be massive, but it will be as easily readable and explainable as this, and it can be cross-verified. But if this is going to be here and be part of history and be part of cases, we've got to make sure it survives. Share this program. I love you all.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or 6-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.